And they're going to start in 10 seconds. How are we doing on the sync here? I feel like we maybe lost Fiesel's audio.
Oh, here I am. Sorry, I was muted.
Okay.
We're good. I'm using
yep.
Lack's timer, so it doesn't... as long as he started at the right time, we should be in sync. I think there is a bit of a delay in Jam's stream, though. Right now I'm seeing... I'll tell you when Lack leaves this cave.
Jam gets the 50 bag. They both do.
Alright, Lack's leaving now.
Okay, yeah, we're pretty much synced up then. And
Jam's
Jam
a little
now?
behind. And Jam now.
Okay, so I'm ahead on Jam.
I'll bump Jam's stream up once he gets into this town.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually live streamer speed.
There we go. So now we should be all synced up for you guys too.
Yep, we missed our opportunity to talk about this P-Bag. It's
let's talk
crucial to everything. It determines a lot of things. There's a lot to talk about. We gotta talk about the P-Bag. Go!
Okay, this P-Bag. You see, both these guys are at 86 experience. They need to have a certain amount of experience by the time they reach the end of Palace 1. And in order to be able to get the big bonus from that palace that takes them all the way up to attack 4. Now, the only way to do that without really going out of your way is to get at least one 200 bag in that palace from a random drop. There's 2 opportunities of that, and you get a 50% chance with each. But on top of that, you need another about 40 to 50 experience from miscellaneous sources. So what most people go for is getting a random 50 bag drop in that first cave where you get the magic container. And it's nice because it's really close to the beginning of the game, and the drops are random. They're on a global timer that starts when character control begins. So you can actually manipulate it really early on by doing that whole first cave very precisely, killing that 6th enemy on exactly the same frame every time, and getting a 50 bag out of it. So people have different setups, but normally you'd have a 1 in 8 chance, but these guys, if you're pretty good, I've seen people get their reliability to above 50% at it. Sometimes you even see someone get it 10 times in a row.
Well, that means it's 100%, right?
Right. For those 10 times. So you want to explain what happened on Jam's stream there?
That was a bubble skip, I assume he just got. I was looking at Lack, who did not get it. It's one of many forced encounter skips that they're going to try to do here, and it's a really good way to save time. Manipulating the encounters in 2 ways, really. One of them is skipping these forced encounters, though, and basically there's this room here with the bubbles that Jam's going through, and now Lack is going back through, and it's real slow. But if you wait for just a little bit and manipulate a monster to get on top of the tile, or to run into where the tile you were on, and then you start walking into that tile, you'll get the monster encounter instead of the forced encounter, and the monster one tends to be much, much shorter, so it's a good way to save, I don't know, like 5 seconds, depending on how cooperative the monsters are.
It's probably 10 seconds or more. I think it's definitely worth going for.
Mm-hmm.
And also because we're close to the beginning of the game, you have pretty predictable monster patterns. What were you gonna say?
I was saying, yeah, like you never know the patterns of like the bubbles. It's all like dependent on the global timer and based on what you do, and so you never know. You give it a really bad pattern where they just keep going the same spot over and over again, straight up, and you're like, well, I have to jump through that, but maybe I won't be able to. So it can get really, really scary.
That's right. The bubbles always knock you to the right, so at least if you get hit, you know where you're going. So if a pit is to the right of you, then maybe you play it a little safer. But in general, it makes going back to when you come in from the right and you're heading to the left, it makes that harder and more dangerous generally. Unfortunately, that's the one you can't really skip.
Right, yeah, it's the direction that you're usually going to be taking. You can actually skip the bubble encounter in that direction as well, but it's a much less likely monster pattern that you have to get for it to work. So we see.
I don't think we've missed the first 6 drop
No, not yet. We got a ways to go. We see that Jam skipped that one skeleton here. Let's see, and he skips the second one, and Lack does the same thing. So they both are doing this just to squeeze an extra 20 experience out of the palace. Otherwise, they'd have to farm a few of these bots in order to make up some change, but what happens is every 6th large enemy that you kill is going to be a drop. It'll either be a red jar or it'll be a 200 bag. It's a 50-50 chance which it'll be. But the thing is, the enemy that is the drop, that 6th enemy, you won't get the experience from them. They give you 0 experience, you just get the drop. Now, normally if you go in here and kill all these enemies in exactly the order they appear as you're doing this dungeon, the 6th enemy you kill will be an enemy worth 50 points. But by skipping those 2 skeletons, and then skipping them again on the way back, and then finally killing them the 3rd time around after they've gotten the candle, they actually shift that 6th kill to an enemy who's only worth 30 points. So you're only losing 30 points to the drop instead of 50, just a free 20 experience, and all you have to do is jump over these skeletons.
So yeah, Jam just tried to do. You try to. There's a manipulation that on that elevator you can do before going down to make sure that bubble and that bot are in a good, nice position to jump over. It requires you to hit the left wall on the upper screen, and then you're going down. You hit the right, and it'll be more easily jump. You can jump over more easily. Jam tried to do a tactic where you. Right before that, right after that Stalfos, you jump and hit the wall to kind of like waste some time, so that the bot and the bubble line up more easily to jump over. But it didn't work out for him.
Yep, that's tricky, and that's one of those strats that was just found recently. I think there are some people who sort of knew it but couldn't really explain why it worked, and I don't know if we really still have an answer, but we found places all over the game where that kind of thing can be applied. Lots of enemy spawns that can be manipulated just by doing these weird things. We see both of them getting the candle. That's one of the things that makes this category nice for players who are just starting out, is you're required to get the candle, and you're not going to take any kind of time penalty for doing it like you would in most of the other categories. So that means doing Death Mountain, you don't have to memorize everything to do it in the dark.
Bots are being mean to Lack there.
Alright, what's the drop here on Jam's screen? He gets a 200 bag from that skeleton.
Very nice.
So that's good, that's all he needed. He needed one 200 bag, and he got it first try. Let's see if Lack gets the same luck. He does not. Lack still has another opportunity. The very last enemy in this palace will be the 12th enemy, so that'll be another drop for him. If he doesn't get that 200 bag, well, he's going to have to play his leveling a lot differently. He's going to walk out of here with level 312 instead of 411. So he'll need to get a lot more experience in Death Mountain and Palace 2 to make up for it.
Yeah,
he's also going to lose time in Death Mountain itself.
Right. And when you're going through Death Mountain, you want to hope to get those P bags that drop from the large enemy group. Yeah, like there's to be Dairas later on in Death Mountain. I'll drop 200 experience feedbacks. Oh, yeah, he's safe because he got the first one. I was like thinking about Jam there.
Right, yeah, Jam's fine. Lack though,
oh,
Lack is having a problem with experience now, so he's going to come out of here with 312 instead.
He did pretty much everything right to give himself the best possible chance to get out of here with attack 4, but...
Yep, there's a 25% chance you're not going to get either of the drops to go your way, and that happens. That's just a risk that all Zelda 2 players of this category take. Some people even take the risk of, they go for 200 bags, and they don't even bother trying to manipulate the 50 bag. They skip a bunch of enemies and save a little bit of time, and they have to reset three quarters of the time. So, what do you think his chances are of being able to get enough P-Bag drops in Death Mountain and Palace 2 to be able to get back on track?
Well, it'd be really a big shame if you just kept getting more red jars. There is that really scary thought of not having enough experience by the end of Palace 2, but hopefully he gets at least like one large P-Bag from one of the big drops.
Yeah, so normally what you would do, what you'll see Jam do, since he is attack level 4, is he'll earn attack 5 by earning all the experience for it. And then he will get enough experience beyond that when he gets the Palace 2 bonus, the bonus at the end of Palace 2 will bump him up to the next attack level, and that's how he'll take attack 6. This is what Lack has to do now, is earn attack 4 by earning the 1,000 experience, and then he needs to earn attack 5 by earning 2,000 more experience, and then get beyond the threshold of probably 400 experience by the end of Palace 2 to be able to get the big bonus out of that palace, which we'll explain, I guess, when we get there how that works. But the way you want to generally manage your experience is every time you beat a palace, you make sure the palace bonus is as big as possible so you can get the next attack level.
Right.
This, you can jump very high. That is the jump spell that Jamevil is picking up here, and it's useful outside of the sort of necessary spots where you need it to progress through the game, though that is what's coming up right here in this cave that's colloquially known as Jump Cave. And we'll point out the uses of the jump spell, but they're kind of all over the place. It's a nice utility spell to have.
See how Jam fares the jump cave here. Okay, so he was pretty patient with that and pretty unscathed. Oh, okay, that was nice. It's unscathed so far, so that's good.
How important is it at this point to maintain Beam Sword?
Oh, sorry.
I wasn't saying anything.
Oh, okay.
He was breathing in.
Yeah. I like to try to keep it just so I can have. I mean, once you get later, like a little bit more experience of the game, you can beam. Like, see, like that red the red bat guy. I always forget the name. But it's good to have beam there because you can just hit him with the beam and just keep going straight without having to lose momentum. Like there, Jan had to stop for a little bit and hit him and keep going. So it's always nice to have the beam security, so you could stop guys and just keep going past them, because he's gonna experience, so he doesn't need to kill everything in his path.
Looks like both players getting poor either luck or just kind of poor manipulation on their part. The encounters coming out of Jump Cave here. This is a pretty sticky spot. I think if you're just learning the game and you're trying to learn. I'm going to start including encounter skips in my run and encounter manipulation. You're going to get here first, and it's going to feel bad, I think, at first until you get the hang of it. This is a tricky one, and it seems like they did okay. I think it was pretty much one encounter apiece there.
Yeah, that's not bad. You'll find you'll either get through with no encounters, or once you get one, you're often stuck getting 2 or 3. Just because you get the encounter timer resetting in an awkward spot. We'll talk a lot more about the encounter manipulations later, because that is a very big part of the run. You can lose a lot of time. I mean, most of the time we're talking about small optimizations, killing a guy one hit faster here or there, saving fractions of a second, but every time you get into an encounter, you're going to lose at least 7 seconds, which is pretty big to just have that, especially because a lot of places it's a bit beyond your control. There's things you can do in a lot of the encounters, but maybe about a third of them you really are just rolling the dice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that spot that they got caught in is really that's you can't do much there. It's pretty hard to get around. I mean, that part's just luck. I don't think there's any good manipulations that people have found yet for that spot. So
yeah,
right.
No, like surefire. There are things you can do to sort of give yourself a good chance, but at the end of the day, there is still a big luck factor there.
Yeah, exactly what Mythical said is what I was thinking. You're giving yourself a better than average chance. If you just walked in there and did whatever, you're going to get a certain number of encounters, and on average, you're going to get a lot less with the manipulations these guys do. And
right.
There are those manipulations for every part of the game, but some of them don't really have that high a success rate.
it's good on Jam's part. Both of them actually, they both healed up full, and like you saw, you could use heal twice, or life twice, and you will be full magic and health at this point. So that's good.
I don't think I've seen a race be this close at this point before.
Yeah, I just resynced the videos. Actually, Lax was about 6 seconds ahead of Jam's, but I moved Jam's stream up, so sorry if it jumped right there. But they are pretty much neck and neck. Right now, yeah, their timers are 1.5 seconds apart, so they're about even.
P-bag. It's not 200,
Yes.
but Lack's gonna backtrack for that 50 because he is short.
Yeah, he'll definitely need all the experience he can get, just to make a buffer, just in case he gets unlucky further on in the run here, going into Palace 2.
Both players lost Beam Sword and Death Mountain here really quickly, and especially LackAttack here has taken a lot of hits early on. There's still a fair bit of Death Mountain to go, and there he is. He's used his life spell, so he's going to be keeping an eye out for Jars, I guess. I mean, he needs experience for sure, but even a Jar at this point isn't exactly unwelcome. I love the way these fish just go into
Just go
walls.
into the walls, yeah.
Yeah.
The louders can also do that too, with like on the floors, just based on like your movement. And they go like left and right at the same time, which makes them keep going straight into the floor. It's interesting.
This is a tricky room that Jam and Lack are both entering right here. We have bats. First a bat plus a Goria. Gorias are probably the hardest of the large enemies to fight, other than maybe the bird knights that you get in the last palace. Pretty much everything else you can deal with pretty consistently. But they give you one of those, and they give you an axe guy, a Daria, plus they give you bats. And bats are completely random which direction they go, so you gotta really get used to all the possibilities that the bat might throw at you.
Right. I still have trouble with that room.
Jam gets a 200 bag again, just rubbing it in there.
Lack does not.
Wow.
There's still more chances. It's not completely out of it yet, but you're not off to a good start here, Lack.
That's right. I think he's going to have another 4 opportunities to get it, and he probably has he gotten any P bags yet, or no 200 bags yet?
No 200 bags yet.
Okay, I think he needs to get 3 of them. He probably needs about 3 of them, at least.
4. Not great. Not a great place to be.
Yeah, 3 or
so
4.
what happens here if he doesn't get these 3 P bags, or maybe it's 2 or 4? We're not 100% sure. But if he doesn't get the experience he needs, he doesn't get attack 5 before Palace 2. What is his leveling route going to look like for the rest of the game?
Well, he's going to be 1 attack level behind where he normally would be in each of the palaces, and that means normally when you're walking out of Palace 5, you're already at attack 8. So when you get the big bonus from the palace, you spend it all to get magic and life levels. And you sometimes do some things to set up getting a convenient level up in Valley of Death. But anyway, that's all out the window. Instead, he's not going to end up with full attack power until the end of Palace 6.
He's alive. He's not alive.
He's not alive. That was close. And that was his first accidental death so far, right? His first death.
Yep. Between either player. That's I think he kind of forgot that he has attack 3, and that means you need to fight these red Dyers a little differently. When you can kill he gets the 200 bag. He's going to be really happy about that. Well on his way here to getting enough experience. Some of the guys in chat are saying he might actually be okay with just 1 drop, so we'll definitely keep an eye on that. But these red Dyers, basically, if you don't have attack 4, they take an extra 2 hits to kill, which matters a lot because you need room to fight them, basically. When you're constantly hitting them, you're constantly knocking them back. And if you run out of room, you're going to knock them off the edge of the screen, and you're not going to kill them. You're not going to get the experience. So you actually need to draw them out of the cave and then come back. And it looked like Lack wasn't quite used to it, or maybe just made a mistake not dragging him out far enough and getting into some trouble there.
Yeah, attack 3 practice is always good. I always, I and Simple Dude advocates it to me all the time. He's like, Opus, man, you gotta keep doing attack 3 runs. I'm like, okay, Simple, keep doing them. And it does help. Like, you have to, you know your limits when you have it, so.
Yep, so Error in the chat pointing out that you can actually get by with as few as 1 P bag, or maybe 0 if you really go out of your way for some marginal stuff or get some lucky 50 bag drops. But in order to do that, you have to keep your magic and life levels really low. Normally you can go up to magic 2 and life 3 in Death Mountain without a problem, but you'd have to stay at magic 1, life 2. Magic 1 is doable, but it really helps to have life 3. It does make a big difference at this point, the amount of damage you take.
Well, he might not have died to that red dire if he had life 3.
He very much, yeah, had a good chance of surviving.
This bridge here with the bubbles and this red dire can be trouble. See that the bubbles are just barely grazing him there, but he gets by okay.
Wow. That's pretty great.
Does not go for the graveyard 1-up. Right there, Jam could have gone down about 6 steps down and back, and 6 back rather, to get a 1-up. Oh, he gets an encounter on the boulder instead of next to it.
Ooh, that's unfortunate.
So maybe no boulder dash here for Jamevil. It's one of these monster manipulations. Basically, you make sure you get an encounter on the tile after the boulder, and then
he might get lucky. He didn't.
Oh, nope, he does not get lucky. But basically, yes, it's a way to ensure your safety getting to Medicine Cave here. And not only is he paying the time loss, but he's also getting banged up a little bit by this Gorilla. So it's a small thing, but this is a close race, so these small things could definitely end up making the difference here.
So since Jam used life in this cave, he's either gonna have to, he's probably gonna get refill in town, I'd imagine, because you need more magic to use jump spell. Oh, he gets a red jar. Okay, never mind.
Yep, doing the smart thing and leaving it there and getting it on the way back.
Let's see how Lack does with the encounters here. He didn't get the boulder dash, but yeah, and he was in basically the same situation as Jam, except he got a really lucky break in those monsters.
Yeah. Both those guys just split. They were like, "Oh, sorry, sir. We'll excuse us. Just let's step aside here." Nice. So that's just that little thing there. Just gained him 7 seconds on Jam. Jam's struggling to avoid these slimes here.
That's unfortunate. I hate when they do that. Oh, and that gets more experience. That's good.
Good for him. He's in pretty good shape. He's had 2 P-bags so far, and he hasn't upgraded his magic or life. He passed right by those, so he's definitely going for the proper recovery strats here.
Yeah, and both of them have the same lives right now, just because Lack got the graveyard Link doll and Jam didn't, so they're pretty much. I mean, obviously Jam has more experience, but.
Lack has given us a heart attack here. Let's hope he doesn't get into an encounter.
Yeah.
Once you get into town, you can talk to the magic refill person, then cast life. Oh man, yeah, he's gonna have to cast life.
This is not yet. He is gonna cast life.
So now he's low on magic. Lack is gonna lose a lot of time because of that. Because he needs to cast jump to get up to where downstab is. But the only place you can refill your magic is a bit farther past there. He's gonna probably lose about more than 10 seconds doing that.
Someone asking if there's a prize for winning the tournament. Doesn't look like there is, but I like the idea of either giving them a P-bag or a red jar. About a 50% chance which one you get.
You get either Begu or Riverman's heart.
Whoa, how could I possibly choose?
You should cast the life spell.
Oh,
cast the life spell? Cast the life spell? No, too late. He's probably just going to get a troll fairy on the way to the palace anyway. We haven't talked too much about how fairies can ruin all of your well-planned monster manipulations. Basically, they don't behave the same way as monsters, so you can't count on them to be out of your way the way you can with monsters in certain spots. So, I mean, the fairies are just trying to help. They're just doing their best. But once you get an encounter with them, you do waste a little bit of time. You can grab it if you need the health, and that's nice. And you can leave the screen quickly, but they're going to reset all of the timers, basically, that determine when monsters spawn. And so that's going to completely throw off anything you had planned, and you're now completely... Well, not completely at the mercy of RNG. You can do a little pause buffering and try to slink around some enemies. It's really hard, and sometimes there's nothing you can do. But it's really fun to see people try to get out of those crazy situations. So, as a watcher, as a viewer, I'm actually a little happy every time I see one of these troll fairies throw someone off their game.
Alright, well Jam's got the heart container there, and he had enough magic to cast Fairy to pick it up, so that really saves the amount of time that it takes you to talk to that magic refill person, the 2 or 3 seconds you're saving by using that for the heart pickup, so it's pretty much an even trade.
There was a fairy there for Jam, but he dodges it. Is he going to wait here for an encounter? Nope, just going to keep going.
Just going to keep going. Some people you'll also see take an extra 2 steps in there to do some manipulation. Oh man, he squeaks
Doesn't
by
even
that
pause
fairy.
on the stop. And wow,
Look at that.
It's very rare to get all the way to the palace with a single encounter. I mean, you can pause at the path and maybe get 1 or 2, and that's really good. But to have absolutely 0 getting through that whole thing is very, very good / lucky, but also good, but pretty damn lucky.
There were some near hits there.
LackAttack also used a fairy to get the heart. I mean, if you were, I think if you were to do that and you got the magic, I would probably wait to kill the... I mean, it's dangerous to do this. It's probably not the best idea unless you're pretty experienced, but kill the Goria afterwards. So maybe it'll drop the jar if your attack or your 6 counts on the right track or on your track.
If you put the 6 count there, well, I've seen some people put the drop on that guy just to get the magic refill, just for the chance of getting the magic refill to cast Fairy there. But you're right, yeah. If you're going to do it that way, you should have it for the way out. And Lack now entering Palace 2. He's fallen a bit behind Jam. It's hard not to with the swamp walk there that Jam had.
Yeah. He did have... I think he had 1 encounter.
These fairies are really nice to him.
Now, I may have missed it here. I was watching Lack, but there's a dangerous room pretty early on in Palace 2 that, despite both these guys being pretty good, you know, we're getting to some of the stronger players here with this match, and I've seen even the strongest of players go down in this one particular room with a bunch of lava and bots. Bots are these little slimes. We've talked about them a little bit. I don't think we've quite covered why they are so annoying, and it's basically because they are unpredictable, and you can't even get a read on what they're going to do. They can be going right one moment and then suddenly left, and if they decide to charge into you at the wrong time, it can be death if there's lava nearby.
Yeah, you'll see soon later on in Palace 2, there's a lava that comes up, and when I try to put as many whiffed hits out as I can when I'm jumping towards them to make sure I hit him if he is random. Yeah, exactly.
It's also a big help to have Beam Sword. You can throw those out there. So here's Jam coming to this room here. Downstab also helps a bit, gives you a lot of options. The Dropper here is giving him some trouble, and that's giving this other bot some time to get up on the edge of the ledge and start putting some evil thoughts in his head there, but he's through.
Yeah, it's actually harder to get by that Dropper with the jump spell, even though jump in general makes you safer in that room because you don't have to do any really tight jumps with bots trolling you. But yes, we've seen some deaths in that room. That's pretty commonplace for runs to end.
Oh yeah, and we'll see one that's even more dangerous than P3.
Because you have to do it twice.
Yeah.
Well, Jam heading over to where the glove is. The glove is a required item in the game. All categories use it. Even the glitched any % will use the glove. It's necessary to break blocks. Without that glove, Link can't break any of these blocks. Speaking of which, Jam's coming into a room with falling blocks. Let's hope he gets a good pattern. Yeah, there we go. Because you can get trapped in there. Without the glove especially, you can get trapped in and just either forced to cast jump or just be stuck there until you die.
Lack also gets cleanly through the lava room, stopped a little bit to wait for a dropper, but otherwise very clean.
And Jam confidently using Fairy there to pick up the glove, saving a few seconds worth of pickup animation. Some people... Yeah, exactly. Some people we see don't do that there just so they can use their magic to cast the life spell. Personally, I like to time it so that I get Magic 2 in this palace sometime after the glove. So I'll take Life 3 early on, but I'll save my Magic 2 for after that point, so I can Fairy there, then get my Magic refilled, then cast Life. Sometimes you need more than one cast of Life to get through here safely. It is a race, so you gotta be worried about safety.
They both had some good luck on the blocks there. It's pretty nice of the game.
Yeah, if it wants to, it can just drop an entire wall right in front of you, and you can't do anything about it. So I just realized Lack does have Magic 1 here, and he has gotten 2 P-Bag drops. So it's looking like if he hits 2,000 fast enough, gets up to attack 5, he can do exactly what Fiesel was describing, take a Magic 2 here. But he elected not to Fairy to grab the glove, so maybe there's somewhere else he can use that magic and then get a strategic refill here.
It's like what Lack tried to do there. You can actually kill the Moa, I think they're called, like the eyeball guys. But you can get them on your way down. He almost got it. He was actually, I'm not sure why it didn't. The second hit didn't actually go through, but it's helpful so you don't have to dodge the fire here in this room that he's in.
And he skips Magic 2, so he's just going to grab Life 3 here. Rather than cast Life and then take Magic 2, he's just going to take Life 3, get the Life refill. That's how he's going to sort of make the best use of his situation here.
We're listening to the FDS version of the soundtrack. This is the Famicom Disk System version. This isn't just a weird instrumentation of it.
I love the FDS sound. I love the synths added.
Oh yeah. We see Jam coming into Helmet Head. Doesn't have enough for shield, but he's going pretty aggressively at him anyway.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
He happened to get pushed off the screen before he could finish the fight out, but that was a real aggressive tactic, so I like to see that. You can tell he's a confident player. A PB of 125, that's pretty far up there. Anything under 90 minutes, person really knows what they're doing.
And he's actually got 2 gold splits here for despite a big hiccup in his second split where he was 50 seconds behind. Oh no, that's versus gold. Okay. He's 24 seconds ahead of his PB.
Not taking magic or life. He really wants to make sure that he gets past his experience threshold. I don't know that he could have afforded to take magic or life.
I guess it looked like he was skipping some enemies though. Gets a very good Helmet Head fight.
Yeah, that was a really good fight. I was gonna recommend that earlier if you could. I mean, for other people that want to learn how to, or probably an easier way to do it. It's like to get Helmet Head, you hit one of his helmets off, and then you can do it. You hit the second helmet off with the next hit, and then you can jump and do the down stab on him. But that'll take some confidence. But after a while, it becomes pretty easy.
Attack 6 here. Even though he's still down on magic and life, he's got to be feeling a lot better about being on track with attack 6 coming out of Palace 2 here. Jam is into Palace 3. Basically, there's some tasks that the game asks you to complete before you go into every palace, but it's more optimized basically in terms of overworld movement to take care of both Palace 2 and 3's sort of requirements first, and then do them back to back. So from 2 right into 3.
There we go. We see one of the required uses of the fairy spell right there. That's why you can't do... Well, you could do Palace 3, I guess, before Palace 2, but you need the glove. That's the only problem. You can get to Palace 3 once you get the medicine, but I think they intend for you to do that whole medicine cave and get the fairy spell and get downstab and all that after you've done Palace 2 instead of before.
Oop, does a little shuffle there, gets into the palace, okay?
Yeah, fortunately, once you started to move onto a town or palace tile, the encounters won't hurt you. They won't hit you once you've begun to move onto that.
Right, it's kind of the most helpful to speedrunners priority that these things have. The palaces and towns override monsters, but the monsters override these forced encounters that are longer than monster encounters, so it just works out nicely for us.
It would be interesting to see if you could get a random encounter on top of a town or a palace, just to see what the terrain type would be. I often get asked, why don't you skip the bridge encounters by running into random encounters on them? And it's because bridge behaves the same as a town or as one of the water squares, where the enemies will just disappear if you contact them while over that tile.
Yeah, that's one of the things I did try when I was first learning the game. I didn't know about that, so I was trying to do it in Valley of Death, like right before all those bridges. Like, why isn't it working? What's going on?
Yep, the monster will just disappear.
Yeah. Eric here in my channel and just telling me what's up.
Jam gets through that dangerous room with the bots and the lava.
Oh, yeah.
We saw specifically, I'm thinking of Light Z. Took 3 deaths in that room, which is very uncharacteristic. But that's the potential that room has to wreak havoc on your run. So it's always nice to be through that, although he does have to trek back through it here.
And we saw an interesting exchange going on there. I think Jam had meant to cast the fairy spell, and just the timing of getting that red jar and getting the magic level up, he wanted to cast fairy before one of those things happened. So I'm not sure. Because he did go back for that red jar, which you would only do if you were planning on ferrying out of there. And he's not casting jump here on the return of the lava pit room.
Yep, he has the beam sword, so he's using that to sort of shoo away these bots. Not that it affects their AI or anything, but if they come forward, they're going to get hit, so... Got the jackhammer there.
Yeah, both of them did well with the jackhammer there.
The jackhammer is basically a technique that lets you attack very quickly with the down stab. It only has a 1-frame animation, so you're basically only limited by how fast you can press down on the D-pad, which it's not easy to mash down on a D-pad, and you need to get 5 hits in there on those blue iron knuckles. So it's not a guarantee that a player is going to be able to just mow them down and keep going. It's fun to see who gets the full jackhammer and whatnot, and it's also a really good way of killing a couple of bosses, 2 in particular, I guess. Do you count the Rebenak kill as a jackhammer? You're really just kind of bouncing on him, aren't you?
Yeah, just bouncing off of him.
It's more a Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah, if you try to, I think you try to do the jackhammer on Rebo, he kind of, even in the especially if you start in the beginning too early, then he demounts off the horse or unmounts off the horse pretty strangely and could be off screen at that point, so it's not a good idea to do on Rebo.
Yeah, better to just control his movements. That's
right.
The important thing. We'll talk about that when we get there. Although we just got there. Okay. So he's standing in this magical spot here. 1 hit there. Demount in the corner, and you want him... Oh, he was a little off, I guess. Or maybe he just got really unlucky, but you want him to demount right underneath you. Luckily, he comes forward, cooperates, and gets drilled in the head there. So he's down. That's exactly how you want... almost exactly how you want Rebenak to go. Hopefully he doesn't back off, hopefully he stays right underneath you. If he goes to the right, it's not so bad. You got a whole room's space to work with, and you can do some jump attacks and work on him. It's slower, but it's not that much slower. However, if he goes off to the left side of the screen, you have to walk all the way to the right to pull him back on screen to give yourself space to hit him all the way back to the left. And it's a pretty fair time loss, 7 to 8 seconds. Oh, looks like we're a little ahead, so we're spoiling things. Oh, that's okay.
Jam's stream keeps lagging behind by a little bit. I'll bump it up just a little as he exits this room. There we go.
All right.
So it should be back closer to where you're watching it.
Apparently Lack was a couple frames away from a soft lock. That's probably not going to happen, but since Bad Briggs brought it up in chat, basically, if you take your level up on the same frame you leave the screen, you soft lock the game. The music keeps running, but you can't do anything. So it is avoidable, but it sucks. It just really sucks if it happens if you're not paying attention.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I took a breath in earlier. I don't know if I heard it, but like I was really afraid for Lack there for a second. I thought he was gonna keep running. Luckily, he stopped. So
good presence of mind there from Lack. So they're both out of Palace 3. They had okay Rebenak fights, and they got the raft from Palace 3. That lets them cross to this other continent here, and the first step is to hopefully not get into an encounter. There's not really any good manipulations for getting from this dock here over to town, and as you can see, Lack runs right into an encounter here.
yeah, those tech-types were really annoying at this point. Luckily, he got on the road there, so
He's through with one and a half encounters, I guess I'll call that. And he's here to pick up the fire spell. Nobody wants the fire spell, but you have to. It's part of the 100% definition of this category, and I mean, you might see some use of it. Some players use it to set up a drop by killing certain enemies that can only be killed with the fire spell. But for the large part, no one really wants to come here and get it. Maze Island
no
now.
encounters.
Jam.
Yep, Jam falling in the pit here, and he's going to cast the fairy spell to pick up this. Oh, maybe he won't. Does he want that 50 or that 200 bag? I guess he doesn't. Yeah, you're not really experience starved at this point in the game. From here on out, both these players should be fine. Jam is already at at life 4. Some people come here. Most people I've seen come here with 733, like what you see Lack having. But we got some important monster manipulations going on here. Let's see if Jam does the same moves that most people do here. Yep, he's going to wait around till a certain cue in the music. He starts to move. Just as those enemies spawn, he's going to duck into the grass right here to spawn this next set of encounters, and then he should get 2 more encounters right here just as he's leaving the grass. And now he's got to get the encounter skip, and he goes just a bit too early, decides not to pause buffer it, and rather than going out and triggering another encounter, there we go. Rather than going out and triggering another encounter, he decides he's just gonna go right through it.
Got a question in chat here about what stage of the tournament is there? Is this the semifinals, quarterfinals? Is that even a thing in this tournament? It is. This is still pretty early on. I think this is. Actually, I'm completely unprepared to answer what round this is. Anyone know offhand?
I don't.
Bail me out. No. All right, I'll look it up. But
yeah, I think it's the second round of the losers bracket.
Second round of losers bracket. Yeah. So it's pretty early on. There's 42 people in this tournament, so it's actually going to take a while for it to get down to a quarterfinals and a semifinals.
Right, it's the first round of losers bracket, by the way. That's what it is.
Oh, I'm surprised both of these players ended up here. I guess they ran into some pretty strong competition.
Let's see.
I like it's very there. Yeah, Jam only took 3 tries to get that super jump in there. We just call it super jump because I think it's probably explained before, but if you're in like the right pixel, I think it's just like a 1 pixel jump. Or maybe it's like, I forget how tight it is.
I think it's 1 pixel, yeah.
Yeah, you can jump on top of the house there instead of going all the way around. Because normally it's supposed to, it probably intends you for, just go like, oh, I'll go to the left of the town and then go to the right.
So it looks like Lack lost in the second round of the winner's bracket. He lost to Dan H, who was seeded pretty much equivalent to him. He had a 16 seed instead of 17. Whereas Jam lost to Shiner in the first round of the winner's bracket.
That's right. The very first round's a little shaky because we didn't have a power of 2 number of people in the tournament. So
Ooh, lack. Fancy.
first try on the super jump. Let's see if Jam can get some encounter skips on the way back here. Goes a little too early. I think he could have had that one if he was just a tiny bit more patient, perhaps. Maybe just a little more accurate. But he's just going to charge through here. Oh!
That first one going in there or going out is pretty finicky. It's not always. Oh, okay.
He's okay. Misses it again. Is he 0 for 4?
Alright, Jam back on Maze Island again. At this point, how far ahead would you say Jam is compared to Lack?
Let's see.
Okay, well,
45
seconds. That's my rough guess.
Yeah. Well, also Lack just got some pretty good encounters here, so I would say he's
Oh, maybe.
hard to tell at this point.
There. Oh, doesn't get it.
Got juked there by that slime.
Right, so
Still,
probably 45 seconds to a minute here.
Jam entered bridge at 45:51. Chat really likes to keep track of just how far people are ahead or behind, so they have their own little visual cues. They pick a mark on one person's stream and wait for it on the other. So they're really on that. Thank you so much, chat.
Yeah, these encounters are gonna definitely help Black catch up a little bit. Let's see. Oh, he got 2. Okay. Well. Yeah, they're still not too far behind, like far away from each other. So this is, and just a little slip up here and there can bring them back together. So.
Well, we have Jam already taken on Palace 4 here. Well, Lag is not too far behind.
Right.
Yeah, I think this could still go either way. I think a death or 2 could easily put Jam back to where Lack is.
Yeah, definitely. If you're like in the middle of a room or something and you get a death, then they'll be pretty much even.
Mm-hmm. So it'll be interesting to see. Jam doesn't have any accidental deaths so far, does he? Sorry about that.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to wonder, actually, about the deaths, because Lack definitely had, I think, 2 deaths. There was one in Death Mountain. Was there one in Palace 1?
I can't remember.
Maybe, I think there was a different race.
No, I think it was just, okay, I think he had one in Death Mountain, and then he got the P-Bag after, he got the Graveyard P-Bag, while Jam did not. So they're tied with lives right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Lives, it's very important to know how you're doing on lives in Palace 4, because there's lots of opportunities to spend them to save time and to refill your life in magic. There's the third one you're definitely going to want to consider, because you just don't have enough magic to cast the reflect spell that's necessary to beat the boss, as well as, I believe it's jump that you're looking to cast in a couple spots on the third death warp.
Yeah, on the last one, it's good to using jump there is good against those flying horse heads, because you can jump right over them and ignore them completely. Because they're a pain in the butt if you don't have jump.
Yep. So despite a game over being disastrous, a loss of several minutes, at least, if a player does want to spend some of his lives here, some of his buffer of his safety net there, to save some time, he absolutely can. So All of these rooms, the lava and the bridge here. Whenever you see one of those, there's an opportunity to take a death at the end. So Jam's going to do it in this one, but I think both players elected not to do it in the first one. So Lack's only behind by about a minute, a little over a minute 15, I guess we'll call it. That's not necessarily a situation where you need the other person to game over to have a chance. It's possible to make up a minute through execution, but just based off of the way they're playing today, it seems like Jam's pretty on top of his execution too. So
yeah, this has been a really good run for him.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's
you
currently...
might not basically give him a chance to get back in here without a game over.
Right, Jam's pretty close to his PB right now. At the end of Palace 3, he was only plus 2.7 seconds.
Like doing a little risky move there, not... Oh no, he's just... Okay, he's death abusing.
Yeah,
okay.
he's just going to take the death.
Both players opted to take the second opportunity for the death warp.
Yeah, that's a good one. I generally would recommend that. If you're going to skip one, skip the first one and take the second and third. If you're going to skip two, then just take the third. But you got to be really careful that you don't forget to leave yourself enough magic to cast jump at the spot that Jam is at right now. You need jump to be able to get up there and get that key. I made that mistake in my race. Didn't have enough.
Yeah, I've done that multiple times.
See, here's a small example of the difference in execution here. Digging down to this key. Basically, this is a maneuver you do a number of times throughout the game. The palaces love to copy and paste certain room layouts, and so digging down 6 blocks into a key basically becomes a recurring thing. So it actually becomes like a familiar motion to dig down 2, turn and slash 2 blocks. Dig down 2 more, turn, slash the other 2, and then go grab the key. Jam there digs through pretty much, ideally, does just 2 swings to get through the blocks. Whereas Lack gets tied up a little bit there, loses, 3-4 seconds. But I just think that's a really good sort of, just to give you a bigger, the bigger picture is kind of that, multiple times spread out over the course of this 52 minutes that have elapsed here.
You notice in that room back there, Jam took the death, but first he tried that statue just to see if he would get a red jar from it, and I'm guessing that if he had gotten a red jar, he would have just taken that for the magic refill instead of taking the death.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, did I yakking over the Stalfos jump? I think he pulled it off.
Stalfos jump. Yeah, I think we're done with that.
Darn, that's a really neat looking trick, very risky, where you jump over Stalfos and catch just the edge of the bridge there. Most players opt to play it safe and just deal with him, but yeah, I'm sorry.
That was a while back. That's in the second of the lava pit rooms, so yeah, I missed it too. I didn't see what he was doing there. Alright, so we see Jam coming into Carrick here. He casts the shield spell, and that first hit that he gets is guaranteed. And beyond that, he's just going to crouch in the corner and hope for good luck. Meanwhile, Lack doesn't even check the statue, just takes the death right away.
Oh, it looks like Seth was talking about something else.
And let's see if Jam equips Fairy. Oh, you missed your chance. You want to equip the Fairy every time you put a crystal into one of these monuments. You get a moment while that fanfare music is playing. Wow, Lack, watch out.
Yeah.
Almost. That was really risky. I mean,
my hands are clammy now.
Phew.
Yeah.
It looks like Jam's going for the heart container here. So we'll point out why that matters after the palace, I suppose. Maybe Lack will show us why there's a reason to leave it for afterwards.
If he casts Fairy there... Oh, he's taking a magic level. I see. He's not going to take an attack level.
Ooh, we've heard that some players are opting for 788 here.
Maybe that's what he's going for. Yeah, most people... Well, I don't know about most people, but I sure would. I would take attack 8 at this point and save the magic and life level ups for after this palace here. But I guess I understand why he's doing the heart container first. If that's his strat, he gets to cast Fairy for free there. Lack, meanwhile, having a, I don't know, would you say that was average? Better than average fight against Carrick?
It was pretty good.
Yeah, they both had pretty decent Croc fights, considering.
Yep, chat confirming that Jam opts for 788. It's a little less, I guess a little less thought goes into managing your experience. It's a little easier, so if you're a little uncomfortable with that aspect of the run, you can opt for the 788 strategy, which, by the way, we're talking about their attack, magic, and life level ups. Their sort of end goal when they beat the game. And so that was no mistake or anything. This is exactly what Jam has planned, and this is what he's comfortable with.
Yep, and another thing that gets you is the ability to get a magic level up in Palace 6, and that's a place where you're often starved for magic, so getting anything that's going to guarantee you a magic refill. Some people will go for a red jar from statues, some people will set up a 6-count drop and get a chance at a red jar, but getting a guaranteed magic level up is really going to make Palace 6 to take a lot of the worry out of it. Also, it appears that Lack has caught up a lot, but what actually happened is that Lack has saved this heart container in the ocean for after Palace 5.
Neither player forgets the key. That is something that could definitely close the gap in this race. We've seen a similar gap be closed in just that way earlier during Bad Briggs' race. And now I'm going to point that out every time, just because every time I see this key, that's what I think about. So I'll try not to rub that in Bad Briggs' face for too much longer. The block room there goes okay-ish for Jam.
Yep, he had a little trouble there. It could have gone faster, but we've seen some really terrible block rooms in this tournament, so I think he can be happy enough with that.
I was actually pretty afraid. I didn't see what experience Jam was at earlier, and then he got really close to skipping the screens, and I was like, oh, it's gonna happen. I was afraid.
Lack is now in the falling block room. He needs to get a stack of at least 2. There we go. 3 is good.
That's good.
He should
What
have
is
been
with
able
this
to get
key? Why do you just sometimes not get it? You see the
hitbox
sword
is
go
so
over the
wonky.
key hitbox.
Yeah.
Wow, look how banged up he gets there. He's got no resources left now.
At least there's a jar right here for him.
Whoop. Doesn't actually want that pea bag. He's just teasing, I guess.
Yeah, the keys have weird hitboxes, and so do fairies. The fairies like to touch them, you have to touch them like on their head area.
Mm-hmm.
So everything has a interesting hitbox. But once you figure them out, well, it almost becomes easier. I still have so many issues with keys still. I still have trouble hitting them. But for like Iron Knuckles and stuff like that, hitting them in the right spot makes things so much easier. It becomes a whole new game.
These orange teleporting dudes that are sort of like Wizarobes or Magos, and they're worth a hefty 200 experience if you can land a kill on them. At attack 8, you can actually do it without stopping if you're lucky. You kind of do a down stab combined with a turnaround slash. And if you're looking to get that just an extra 200 experience, if you're making to make up for a drop rather, or you're looking to time one of your level ups to refill something, these Magos are a good way to sort of help you control your experience if you get the chance to take one out.
Yep, I think at attack 7 it takes 3 hits to kill one of those Magos, is that right?
I don't know.
I think it does. So a little bit harder to get experience from that.
Oh, but he gets a jackhammer on one. It looked like it was 3 hits. Oh, I forgot to delay the 3
Yeah, you gotta delay just a little bit more. Yeah, Jam's stream
saw
keeps
it.
lagging behind. You can also pause and unpause
Can
your
I?
player,
Yeah.
can't you?
What's the pause key default in VLC?
Spacebar.
All right, this should be good.
I'm seeing his timer at 30, 31, 32.
All right, now I'm 1 second behind, so
Good enough.
definitely no spoilers.
No problem, King Hippo.
Alright, Jams doesn't even need to go for it, but there's a red jar right there above his head. It's one that a lot of people who aren't speedrunners of the game don't know about, or maybe if you look up resources, but even among speedrunners, I know there's a lot of people who are surprised when they see that for the first time.
I didn't know about it until, honestly, I didn't know about that one until recently, because I would try to like, if you do the upstab, it doesn't come out right away, and I was like, is my cart glitched or something? I didn't know what was going on, but if you do upstab on that one block, you have to do it twice. And if you just hit it normally with like a normal slash, that red jar will come out of that block.
Yeah, and there's a
like,
couple...
immediately, so.
Right, yeah, and I noticed, I looked up in some maps of this game at some point, and I found that a lot of them were pretty incomplete with which jars it shows. So I think even some people who've made maps don't know where all of them are.
Jam picks up another Mago kill. So whatever his leveling plans are, it looks like it involves grabbing some extra experience here in P5. Lack misses the turnaround to block a projectile. That's a common thing you'll see these guys doing. Often enemies like to throw projectiles that are just a tiny bit faster than Link. So you'll want to just tap and turn around and block it with your shield. Luckily, I think there's about a 4-frame window you have to kind of turn around and get back before you actually do lose speed. So it's pretty impressive, I think, to be able to keep going and get those blocks in. But it's not quite as tool assisted, as flashy, as stylish as it looks. 4 frames is something that people can work with some consistency. So there's that.
Yeah, whenever projectiles come towards me, I usually do like jump and then aim towards it. Depending on what elevation it's at, you can crouch down or just let Link keep standing in air, and depending on where it is, you'll block it if you're in the midair.
Jam is doing something interesting here. He
Yeah.
must be short on experience. He stopped to farm a Mago, and then he went left here to one of these little dead-end areas where you can get a P bag. I'm not sure what his experience target is, but I know that Guma is worth, 500, right? And then you get some change along here, about 300 worth.
If he gets over this 3,500, I think that means he's going to get about a 4,500 from the palace.
Yeah, he's gonna get enough for. That's how much he needs to get to get attack 8 as the next level.
Yeah,
He's
Guma
probably
gets
gonna use
500.
Ooh.
Oh, nice
Good
jackhammer
finish.
there on Guma.
Wow.
And we have Lack also fighting Guma, getting
Not
much
letting him
harder.
get on screen, but
Yeah, much harder to fight him from the left because you keep pushing him off screen.
so Jam's experience route here has put him just ahead of Lack as opposed to that comfortable minute and a half he had before.
Don't forget though the time that's hiding in
right. Yes,
the heart
there's the
container.
heart
So
container.
Jam has already picked it up, so you'll see him just walk on. Whereas Lack, you're going to see now him go up north. Come on, Lack, it's back one. Oh, there you go. And he's going to get the heart container, and then we'll set up the river dance, which we'll explain. Myth, you can explain it. You're an expert at the river dance.
Yeah, I know all about high-level Zelda 2 mechanics, and it's not like I've just picked up on how to do things to cast these tournaments. No, it's one of these forced tile encounter manipulations. It's been given this clever name. I believe it was discovered by Bad Breaks, or perhaps it was partially known, but sort of put into practice by Bad Breaks.
I think it was discovered by Bad Breaks and named by ProJan.
Okay, there we go. It's fun. It's fun to trace the names and histories of all of the little speed tricks that people have. So actually, he did not do those extra steps. He needs to take 2 extra steps here. So look for it. Any sort of odd movement, that's probably what it is. He didn't.
That's
so
why he got 2 sets of encounters there.
He does not. He missed a step there in the river dance. But the idea is basically to give yourself no encounters on your way down to the River Devil here, and it also sets up an opportunity to get a fence skip, which is another forced encounter skip. He's going to go for it, and he's going to get it.
Fortunately.
Wow.
So that's going to make up for that encounter he got on the way to the River Devil.
Oh, Jam doing the right thing there, ducking into the swamp for a moment, because swamp gets you farther enemy spawns than forest. But then the pattern that he got, just some real dancy monsters that did not want to let him pass. So yeah, he has to take 2 encounters to get through that area. So that's going to set him back a little bit. And Lack getting the fence skip is going to set him ahead a little bit. So this might have gotten quite a bit closer. I would say there's maybe 30 seconds between these guys, assuming Lack can execute these monster skips perfectly.
Yeah, there's a lot more skips both on the way to the cave for Lack and also out of the cave for both players.
He's done it.
Wow, nice.
So
That
now
is
they're
going to
really close.
really bring these guys close. So keep an eye out on Jam screen here as he goes into New Kazuto. He's here to pick up a couple things, one of which is a magic key that opens locked doors. No more tracking down keys. We got the one key to rule them all, and we're also going to grab the spell. This is it's a weird spell. That's probably why it has such a vague name. It summons palaces. It transforms monsters. So he's going to take this spell. He's going to use it to summon the palace, get the magic key, and I think I'm missing something else they get in this town.
A magic container, magic key.
That's
and
it, magic
spell.
Container. Okay. Just some necessary things here. A little detour out to this town, and then they're gonna head down for a heart container, and then over to the palace. But on the way to the heart container, after they get out of the cave, which I guess I'm getting ahead of myself here. That is a little bit before it happens, but basically, there's no really good manipulation for getting out of that cave and down to the heart container cleanly. So you kind of have to do some dancing, some juking and jiving around these monsters. I believe the word that people like to use is a slink, basically.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to see some use of the pause buffering, and they're going to try to slink between these monsters here. And the person who slinks best is going to have an edge here that they desperately need as they head towards the last palace.
That's right, it's a slink off. We got a slink off, guys.
Yeah. The slink is really tight too. It's pretty hard to get, especially going down the heart container. You get 2 slinks, and it's tight. It's really like you have to kind of like wait, like pause buffer until they're pretty close, and you go down. And the lower encounter kind of shifts out of the way for you, and it's just really difficult. I practiced for like hours, and I still it's hard to get on a run anyway.
Yeah, and you got a 1 in 4 chance that you're going to just get a favorable pattern where you'll get the enemies spawning above and to the side, but not below.
Right.
So that could always happen. Well, Jam leaving the town, heading back into it. I'm not sure what stuff he wants to kill. I'm not as familiar with the 788 level up scheme.
Yeah, I guess he's hoping for a whole 6,000 experience.
He'll get the 6,000 from P6.
Yeah.
And then he'll have 788
Right.
out of there. And then, so there's some cool things you might be able to do with Magic 7. Like, there's that one room in P6. I actually found this out from Jan and Bad Breaks. It's like, you can cast a spell to get rid of all the guys in one room, where you can fall
Nice.
in.
Ooh.
And,
We'll point that out, but so he gets 1 slink there. He dodges that first encounter. Well, I guess he gets kind of.
That wasn't a slink. He just happened
Yeah.
to dodge them normally.
So you get luck and then no slink on the slink opportunity.
and Jam knew where the fixed encounter was there in the forest. You need that forest for any percent, but not for this one.
Jam getting tagged here on the way to the palace. It's pretty rare that you get an encounter between the heart container and the palace.
Ooh.
But he did get one. Lack there, also not pulling off the slink maneuver, but he may be 1 encounter ahead if he can get to the heart container and out cleanly.
Yeah, he was pretty good with his timing. He was a little bit off. If he would have been a little bit sooner, it would have been pretty good. But...
Oh, both players getting an encounter right on top of where the palace would appear. Interestingly, there's actually a really nice encounter manipulation you can do from the heart container up to Palace 6 there that I don't think I saw either player attempt, but that's very reliable. But that's really not that bad an encounter to get.
So let's see, where are the major spots that Lack is looking to make up time here?
Man.
So Valley of Death, like there's that one spawn that's right before it. That's pretty tricky to get, and just getting see if you can get, like, if you get encounters following you and you go into the fixed one, you can just leave the fixed encounter and then reset the normal encounters, so you can try to skip them in Valley of Death. Because sometimes you might just get into random encounters in Valley of Death, which wastes some time. So gather up a lot of time just getting random encounters there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure how good how well these guys do in the Great Palace, but we'll see how that goes too. Depends on like the bird knights and everything, how they fare through that.
That's right. You might even see differences in the Barba fight too. We'll have to watch that. Lack is now doing the Ribonac. Jam had a okay Ribonac fight. Lack could certainly make up some time on it though, and he gets the downstab strat to work very well. Jam, fortunately, meanwhile, is getting a red jar from this statue. That's very good for him. I thought he was going to take a magic level up somewhere in this palace, but it looks like that's not part of his leveling scheme.
Right. Yeah, I actually used to do 788 when I was first learning the game, because there's a lot of different leveling guides on redcandle.us.
Right.
That's one of them I just picked out when I was first starting. And yeah, you just get the level up at Barba, or after when you put the gem in.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty easy. That's what makes it makes it easier to go through. I mean, attacking things isn't easier, but the fact that you don't really have to worry too much about your leveling makes it, somewhat easier. So
I don't know if we're going to get a ceiling walk from Jam. We don't. What he was going for is going through that screen transition just as he bumps the wall would put him up on top of the ceiling here instead of having to go through the door. It's a very minor time savings, but it's always a cool glitch to get. I know Lack's going to go for it.
See, this is the broom that he can cast spell in right now. Jam anyway. And you can get rid of all these guys so he doesn't have to stop there.
Oh,
but,
that's
just
a good
saves. Yeah. You can only do it like Magic 7 and have it be safe. Having magic for Barba and everything to use jump. Imaginary power unit. It's just because when you have so much attack, you do so much damage to the boss that the health bar just does like an underflow. So it was a. Oh.
He's shocked.
The look of shock on his face. You guys
Wow.
don't get to see the webcam, but he was
Yeah.
his jaw hit the floor when that happened. Yeah, watch out. Look but don't touch. Yeah, the hitbox on that lava is not where it appears to be. I have actually bumped into the lava before.
Yeah.
Well, he still has another life. He can take a death someplace and still be okay, I think.
That's right. Both players are doing well on lives. We've seen a lot of players get themselves into some really tough situations regarding lives and having to change the way they play, trying to play more safe, taking less risks, and it affects your time. So, having the comfortable amount of lives there, you gotta feel pretty good about that being as far into the run as Palace 6, though losing a life to something like that certainly does not help. So Jam's gotta, sort of pull himself together, shake it off, and get back into it, because Lack is right behind him looking for any sort of weakness. Here's the Barba fight.
They're really close.
Alright, what kind of Barba fight will it be? Oh, he must have lost a little bit of time entering the room. He goes for the jackhammer. What? I was not
Jesus.
expecting that. I was not expecting.
So it is a 2-cycle. Lack misses the 1 cycle as well.
My heart.
We were going to talk about Jackhammer on Barba, and then I was like, I don't think they'll probably go for it. But not only did he... Normally you know where Barba's going to spawn. If you keep to the right as you enter the fight. Both players take him out, by the way. Good job. Normally you just walk to the right and you don't stop. And when you get to the edge, it means Barba's going to spawn in the same spot. You know exactly where he is. And that lets you set up a jackhammer, which is where you do the down stabs up on his face. It's really risky because when he dies, you will fall straight through him, so you need to make sure you get back onto the platform. and it's also really hard to control your left to right movement while you're doing this jackhammer thing. It's all in the D-pad, right? So your thumb's kind of working overtime, and so that's kind of what makes the jackhammer at least a little bit consistent. That you can count on where Barb is going to be.
Right.
So to mess that up, but still go for it
Yeah, he
is
still went for it.
really
That amazed
ballsy.
me. I was thinking, oh man, what kind of safety strats is he gonna do now? But he's like, nope.
Just jumps up there and lets him have it. He almost gets the one cycle too. That would have been icing on the cake if you had pulled a one cycle.
That was awesome.
So bonus points for the
So
jackhammer.
For the jackhammer, if anyone's, so you don't just press down and that's it. Like, I mean, I'd recommend you just like kind of rock your thumb back and forth between the direction, like from left and down or right and down, depending on which way you want to go, how you want to stabilize yourself. I just kind of rock my thumb really quickly. It's really hard to do it just by pressing down over and over again, because that requires you to like have your controller in a weird position in your hands. So.
Yeah, actually, the few times that I do attempt that, I hold my controller sideways and I use one thumb on down and the other thumb I do left and right in A. It's kind of a weird grip, but
Left, right, and A. Okay.
Yep.
I think I can kind of see what you're talking about. But it's always fun when speedrunning asks players to come up with new grips on their controller, and we have to come up with names for it, like the claw. And yeah, apparently the jackhammer has its own grip. So here's Valley of Death. This is an opportunity to save and lose a whole bunch of time with these encounters, and particularly these encounter skips. You really don't want to have to go through any of these encounters. You want to skip all of them, so you're going to keep trying again and again until you get it.
right, both
If
of these guys having some
Jamevil-
trouble.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, Jam was doing really well at first, and he's gotten unlucky those past past three.
And Jam went for the red jar, Lack does not, so that's going to gain Lack a little bit of time. I wonder if he knows how close it is, because that's a sure way to save a little bit of time. He's only one encounter skip behind him.
Yeah, they were literally 4 tiles away on the overmap for just a second there.
Amazing. Jam just dodged an encounter, so that skips a full encounter, and I think he even got the encounter skip in the process.
He did.
That's as well as you can do there. That's the
That was
best
amazing.
possible outcome.
Wow.
That was
That was a
amazing.
really, really strong start to Valley of Death. Well, no, not the very start. That was kind of weak,
Strong
actually.
middle
but-
to it.
Yes, middle. Definitely making up for the bad luck at the beginning there.
Right.
Nice job on JM. And this is key. This is the last major swing in time here. I mean, Great Palace, some things can happen, but not really, 20, 30 seconds worth of stuff. So if he gets through Death Valley cleanly here, the race is kind of his to lose at that point.
Right, well, he gained himself 20 seconds by getting that encounter skip plus getting the skipping an encounter entirely and then getting the encounter skip without having to spawn another set. Normally, if you missed that encounter, if you managed to dodge that encounter, you would go into the fixed encounter and then out again to reset the timer, but he didn't even have to do that. So that's huge.
Say, even though you're going through this, if you're in this run right now and you're going through this area, you have to keep cool at these points, because we noticed that we need to keep pause buffering. We noticed that, sometimes they've been
Both through, but my God, is it close?
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead and...
Yeah.
Oh, that's
You can
fine.
finish.
Yeah, I was about to say, just if you keep pause buffering and try to be patient with it as much as you can, because as you can see, with the lack of pause buffering, a lot of seconds was lost. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And you don't want to panic at this point, because every one of those encounters is also extremely risky besides just losing you time. But here they are, almost neck and neck, coming into Palace 7.
Are they going to opt to skip the spicy chicken here? They're in different experience situations here. It's going to be actually kind of hard for... wait, no, you're not looking for... Yeah, Lack is looking for Magic 8 here, right? How is he going to... He's not going to get that done, is he?
Well, if you have 877, you're gonna have to take a Death Abuse later on, or pick up something that's, like a lucky jar later on.
Here, I'm going to
Right.
resync the streams. They're a little bit out of sync with each other, so I'm going to just slow Lack down for a moment. So now they should be the actual sync. I'm syncing by their timers now, because Jam's
do
stream
that
is
too.
lagging a little bit. So Myth and Opus, if you want to resync, Lack is now at 52, 53, 54, 55.
Gotcha. Okay.
So yeah, it was a little bit misrepresented how close they were. So now this is completely accurate. They are in the same room.
Right, yeah, I got the timers lined up. Assuming they both started their timers at the same time.
I am going on that assumption. I hope they both used the same timing method.
Little trouble with the bot there. That little guy can cause havoc, especially with a red bird knight chasing you down, but he cooperates for Lack there. And Lack's gonna need every single moment, these little moments, to go his way here. Spicy Chicken doing a good job of zoning out Jam. They're low on resources here. There's a pot at a jar, sorry, at the end of this hallway, I think. Yes. Yes?
Yes, this is the one, right?
Okay.
Stab upward at
So
that
here we
statue.
go.
Lack gets it, Jam doesn't. Here we go. We're gonna see things really evening out.
50-50.
Lack getting
Luck is
absolutely
Oh, he needs to get this jar and cast it, please.
just getting beaten up, and now they're dead even.
Now they're dead even. Oh my gosh.
Man.
So it's all up to Scott Beekila now. Watch this blue bird knight here and how they deal with him. You really want to get him off the screen to
Cast
the left
shield,
as you
dude.
go over him?
Cast life, cast
Nope,
something,
he's
dude.
right there with them.
Oh no.
He's so relentless. You don't want to give him any more than 4 blocks there, otherwise he will chase you all the way to the door. Lack has got 1 block of health here because he does not have life 8. Waits just a moment so he doesn't get hit on his way down. But they're both through, but Lack is now behind. He's not as clean getting through those blocks there, so not only did he lose time, but he has lost health. Put him on the back foot here. And you just have to get past another Spicy Chicken.
Ooh, took a hit there. Yeah, he's in the danger zone here in terms of his health. This room right here with the blue bird knight, he could... Bad pattern. Oh, man.
Okay, Jackhammer, get him out of your life
That was
forever.
cool.
And don't worry about him. All right.
I like how he equipped shield, but it's like, maybe I shouldn't use it. Let's see what happens. Yeah, he skips the ferry. There was a ferry there that he could have gone to pick up, but he cannot afford to do that, or he's going to lose this match.
Right.
Oh, he takes the death. Well, he needed to take a death or something at some point.
yeah.
Jam's going to
Yeah.
take one here, probably. He is, yep. And Lack does not need to, so...
Lack would definitely have rather taken that death afterwards, because now he's down just a little bit of health. He could have been down a lot more if that chicken did not cooperate.
That's right, but Jam is a good, I'd say 15, 20 seconds ahead of Lack.
That is hard. I mean, Dark Link is pretty random. He can be easily a difference of 5-10 seconds. It's pretty rare he's a difference of 20 seconds. But execution on Thunderbird here is a thing. So let's see how these players do. They're looking to get 2 hits every time he comes down. Wow,
Jam's going crazy there.
Or like 4, I guess, if you're Jam. Pretty much
Alright.
a 2-cycle there on Thunderbird, a very quick 2-cycle. We'll see how Lack
Didn't
does.
hit at all.
Lack's doing jumpless strats.
Right, yeah, he's only got Magic 7, so he's limited in what spells he can cast. He can't cast Jump, Shield, and Reflect, so he's opting with, I think, just Shield and Thunder.
Yeah, you could do
So
jump
he's
as
losing
well,
time here. A 3-cycle Thunderbird. He needs Dark Link to do some awful things to Jam. The level up prompt, he does not really care about that right now, but he has to get it out of the way first. The game's making him do it. Dark Link being very uncooperative, but he needs to be much more uncooperative than that. One more hit. There it is. He's got it. Jam secures the win in maybe our closest match yet. I don't know. We've had one that's
Wow.
12 seconds
Yeah,
apart.
it's one
and
12
this
seconds
one's
apart. Let's see how far apart
shaping up
this
to be
is.
pretty good.
Let's see. Jam's time is 1:23:18, and Lack is 1:23:41. So our second closest race that we've seen.
Yeah, but I don't think anywhere.
That was
where-
amazing.
They were literally neck and neck. Like, they were pretty much at the exact same tile of each room at numerous points throughout this palace. And that is definitely the first time we've seen that. So in some ways, I think this has been our closest race. And yeah, Fiesel pointing out that that was a new PB for Lack. Was it? I'm seeing
Wait,
plus
was it?
8. I'm seeing plus 8.8. Minus 5.5 on that split.
Yeah, he just
Oh.
PB'd earlier today, so like for like 2
His
hours
time is
ago.
much better. But
Yeah.
both players got a
Alright.
number of gold splits in that run, so they're they both got to be happy about their play, their performance. Maybe Lack is not thrilled that he lost by a couple seconds there. He's looking a little defeated. He's got a bit of a smile on his face, the corners of his mouth that are upturned. So I don't think he's legit mad about it. He's being a good sport. But
Jam, on the other hand, looked like he just like released a lot of stress.
Yeah,
He's looking very relaxed now, almost shocked at first. He's slowly coming around.
Basically, Lack kind of did his part, right? He needed something to happen to Jam, and so he followed, he executed, he was right there. He needed something to happen to Jam, and nothing happened. So he gave it his best, and he came up short. Whereas Jam, it was his to lose, right? If he loses this race, it's because he threw it away. So the pressure of getting through that and not having that happen, and yes, that is the difference here. It's just sheer relief for Jam, and he's gonna advance in this tournament. This is the losers bracket that we're in here. So LackAttack is eliminated, but I'm looking forward to seeing if he continues with Zelda 2. He seems to have a knack for these games.
Yeah.
You should call him LackAttack.
And it's also a good run for him too, because he had Attack 3, and he had that death during Death Mountain. If he didn't get that death, this could have been. I remember everyone just practice Attack 3. It kind of stinks, but just practice.
If you're going to be in this tournament, you should definitely be comfortable with being in that situation.
Yeah. Learn to drag out the Dairas out of their little holes so you don't get axes thrown at you, and it'll be a lot easier for you.